Good morning, my friends. Oh boy. Well, how are you this morning? I've been practicing what little grandmother says is the very most important thing that we can do, and that's to know we are God and Goddess. We are the great I am. This is what we must come into. And I find it really interesting. I awoke, I arose, I had coffee, and then I found myself in prayer with the desires of my heart to shine, to clear away blockages, and so on. And as I was praying, it came on me who I really am. And I realized, oh my God, I'm the one I'm praying to. How very strange. And so, as I said the prayer, I turned around and I granted my request. That takes some getting used to. I highly recommend it. What are the things that stand in the way of us accepting our true identity as the rescuer, as the God, as the goddess, as the one that's in charge? This isn't a mind thing, of course. This is only found in the heart. And my delight soars to the heights and down to the depths of the seas and the oceans as I find so many who are speaking out, giving that very same message. Their hearts have told them, and their hearts have told them true. We must know the way. We all know this way from within, my friends. You're as great a teacher as anyone out there. You know this within. It's just strange, though, as it's like we're looking through, I don't know if it's a hologram that's been partially penetrated and parts of it are not there anymore. And so we're seeing through a lot of the programming, and the more we see through it, the more it falls away. And yet, of course, we've got the old comfort zones. We got used to functioning this way for so very long. And so I think what stands us in good stead there is being the observer and just watching that, watching where there's comfort, watching where there's some discomfort. You'll probably find some discomfort in stepping up and being the God that answers your prayers and making that figure eight loop, that connection, as above, so below. We already are the God above. It's time now to anchor, to manifest that in the below. And, I like what Dimitri Halley says. He's a brave soul to be a counselor, a psychologist, an instructor in university, and be coming out and speaking of spirituality and things. It's great. I'm glad he's in Aruba, though. He wouldn't get away with it here. We're way more locked down than we like to admit. And I think most of us know this. It's just that comfort zone thing. But as we step back, step up, step away, step within, however you want to say this, of course, being the observer and being in the heart are not necessarily the very same thing. But being in heart helps us to observe. It gives us a distance from the matrix, from the hologram. In a funny way, it helps us look at it more objectively. Not that there's such a thing as an object, whatever. Not to go there. Not to indulge mind too much, to keep it in check. But Halley not only bravely mentions the word spirituality and weaves the whole understanding of it in, not just as a concept, but into the direct experience that comes from touching the shadow, as he calls it. He takes it farther. He goes into what has perhaps been falsely called the metaphysical. And I don't know, they're words. We can play around with words. It's the miraculous, the paranormal that becomes the normal. That's the way things are and are meant to be and can very easily be. That's what life looks like when the limits are gone. And so he shows you this. He shows what's available and how that state of being weaves itself in to become the new norm. I like it. I like it a lot. You don't very often find people in even the soft sciences like psychology with the kind of courage to go there. I think his work is seminal. And I hope it goes on and really catches on around the world so that people can see the example that's being set for them there, how you can live in the world and still be the miracle that you truly are. And yet how you don't have to lose touch with everyone else, with what's here. It doesn't matter if you're a street sweeper. We're going to see more and more examples being set of Christ walking the earth, doing this or that, and being very adept at it, very functional, totally unique. We'll find our own ways. We're each meant to do this. And it catches on. The 100th monkey, whatever way you want to look at what amounts to a momentum. After a while, such a momentum builds and gathers. We're all connected. We're all quite thoroughly one, in spite of the seeming of things, in spite of the apparent separation, the apparent this and that, you and me, here and there, the polarity of it, the duality of it. We're quite one. All the atoms are so connected. It would pay for everyone to do a little bit of research into, just listen to some of the speakers. You don't have to go to school and study quantum physics. I don't recommend it. A lot of the people that are studying that don't have the vision of a Halley to see into the deeper implications of what's being presented there. And so we do have some speakers that you can Google, that you can find on YouTube and Vimeo and Daily Motion. The various Blip TV's good. Just Google it. I'm trying to think of this guy's name. He's got a delightful English accent. He was in What the Bleep. Oh well, doesn't matter. There are enough people out there that are sharing the basic underlying concepts that have the vision. That's the important thing, is to have the vision, because we can take any kind of facts we want to take and do whatever with them and make them into whatever kind of construction we like. We're creators, We can do that. We can create things out of the whole cloth. I love the concept that Alex Collier presents about how if we take the world just 3 centuries ago, the way that it had been for century upon century and even thousands of years, was people didn't have rights. There was ruler and rulership. There was the kings and queens and the princes and so on. And there was perhaps the religious hierarchy. And people did not have individual rights. The concept didn't exist. And so in the founding of the US of A, I don't care whether you think it's some big conspiracy of secret societies or what, there's a beauty in it that was birthed, that was brought forth, that at least conceptually is divine. is divinity manifest on earth is a brand new creation. And you notice people had to get tired of the way things had been. They had to get good and fed up. There was a lot of misery that went before, do you see? Do you see what comes out of misery and why we set ourselves up this way? We need the motivation. We know that we do, because the other side of momentum is inertia. And that's a very real 3D kind of a thing. You know, you get in your comfort zone. If everything's provided for you, what's going to inspire you? What's going to drive you? I think it's quite possible that when we get into our new light bodies and our new heaven on earth, that it won't be that way. We won't have to set ourselves up to be in some kind of misery in order to overcome the tendency to inertia. I don't know. I'm speaking out the top of my head here. Because while time is simultaneous, and that means we're already there, this is already done. We've already won, my friends. We're already ascended. But again, it's that old keys to the kingdom thing. When will they be presented such that we can have the full experience of this? And I'm content, mostly content to wait. You know, sometimes I get a little impatient, just like everyone else. Mr. Sun, I wish you'd track with me a little better. Oh well, it is what it is. So, we have this great beauty, this great wealth of being that we can call on, my friends. We are the sun. We are that. Anything that you have a tendency to worship, I think it's time to mate with it and to realize and recognize that that's you over there, and to take that within yourself and no longer be worshiping or so highly revering something external to you. Anything that keeps us back from being the fullness of the divinity we are, it's time to look at it. Just watch it. Just see what is acting there. You know, what's the training? What's the assumption? What's the belief under there? We can't just smear it out because we want to. Heck, if we could do that, we'd just make heaven on earth right now. We just all will it so, and there it would be. But it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't, you know, unless we get into and see what's underlying this. What good does it do to just wipe it out? We'll go recreate it again. We haven't learned anything. Now, I'm not necessarily one anymore who looks at the earth as a schoolroom. I know I used to. That's one way of looking at things. And I trust that we're growing better about having this conversation and realizing that there are so many ways to look at things. And so that when someone speaks up with their way of looking at something, we can give them full rein. You know, we can listen, we can hear, we can do what we can to identify with that particular perspective. Because trust me, if we're resisting that, oh boy, we're projecting there. And it's just not good. We've got to let resistance go in the name of love. And you can't wipe it away by an effort of will.